Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today's lesson is an advanced level lesson. That means we'll be speaking using our normal English tone of voice and using some very, very difficult vocabulary and phrases. So this is really good practice for all of you out there.
That's right. We're going to change a little bit the dynamic of how it works. We're not going to look specifically at language takeaway or fluency builder. We're going to talk about the topic. We are going to pick out a couple of different words and phrases that are used in the dialogue, but we're mainly going to just have a conversation, and you can just listen and study a little bit of what we're saying.
So what is the topic today, Marco?
Well, today we're going to talk about the environment, specifically about our carbon footprint.
Okay, that is the title of today's lesson. I encourage all of you to listen to the context of that phrase, and we'll be back in a moment to talk about what it and some of these other phrases mean.
So what's your guys' take on all this global warming hysteria in the media?
It's pretty serious, man. There have been tons of scientific studies, and the scientific community says that the Earth is heating up. We need to make some drastic changes to our lifestyle if we want to preserve our planet.
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo if you ask me. The Earth will save itself. It survived worse disasters in the past. I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies. There's no way anyone here is ever going to walk or bike to work, especially in the winter. And we have no bus system. My house is 40 years old, and it would take a lot of money to get it refitted to be green and energy efficient.
Well, I don't really know if I believe in global warming either, or whether or not it was our doing or a natural change the Earth is going through. But you have to admit that we're living pretty irresponsibly here in the West.
I guess.
I think the issue at hand is sustainability. We've only got this one Earth we can live on, and our resources are quickly disappearing because of our own carelessness and our inability to think of anyone but ourselves and anything but the present.
So, like I was saying, we need to change the way we live. We need to reduce our carbon footprint.
But it doesn't have to be that drastic. Hybrid vehicles and solar panels are too expensive to be feasible right now. And we don't have to be hippies living off the land and buying everything organic either. Though it helps.
I carpool to work every day with some buddies of mine. I have a rain barrel outside my house I use to water my plants and my lawn in the summer. And I make sure I always bring reusable bags with me when I get my groceries. And we just started using biodegradable plastic made from corn oil for takeout orders at my family's restaurant. Remember the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. It's just small, simple changes. Like buying energy-saving light bulbs, starting a compost bin, recycling bottles and papers, using reusable water bottles, stop using disposable cups and cutlery.
Like the ones we're drinking out of?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So, as you probably guessed, carbon footprint, it's pretty easy. You're talking about a footprint is the evidence you leave if you're walking on sand, for example.
Exactly.
And if we talk about carbon, we're talking about the element, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carbon.
Yep. So carbon is something that is in everything, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's organic, but it can also, in the case of a carbon footprint, mean the amount of maybe waste or damage that we do to the earth or to the environment.
Right. So, for example, you're driving your car. We all know that the gas that is emitted from the exhaust pipe is CO2, right?
Yeah.
And that contains carbon. So that's a way of seeing that you're leaving a footprint of carbon. You are damaging the atmosphere a little bit by driving your car.
So in talking about a carbon footprint, we talk about having a low carbon footprint, which is good, or a very high carbon footprint, which is bad.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there were a lot of interesting things coming up in the dialogue. One of the first things was...
Well, the first thing that they're talking about in this dialogue is they're having kind of an argument about whether or not global warming and global climate change really exists.
Yeah, this is a very interesting part because some people say, well, global warming is happening, global warming is real. And other people say, well, it's not real. It's not really a problem. This is just a phase that the Earth will go through and like everything, it'll disappear.
Well, I agree with people who say that the Earth goes through phases because sometimes there are centuries that are hotter and sometimes there are centuries that are colder. But I think it's undeniable that there has been a large and immediate global climate change in the last maybe 20 years.
Yeah, we're definitely speeding up maybe that cycle, right?
Exactly. And I think what's great evidence of this and terrible evidence of this is the 3 earthquakes, massive earthquakes that have happened in the last couple of months. And I think that earthquakes like last year and like this year are really, really important reminders that we do, as humans, influence the way that the world responds to us.
I think I always see it as the Earth kind of just shaking its back, kind of saying like, "Get off me!" You know,
Stop it.
Stop it.
That itches.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of the way I see earthquakes sometimes. But when they were talking about, well, is it real? Is it not? They use a really interesting phrase when it says, "It sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo."
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
So this is a way to say that it sounds like a bunch of garbage, or it sounds like a bunch of gibberish. It sounds like a bunch of people are talking about something that doesn't really exist. So mumbo jumbo is basically something that's not really real or true.
I think, don't you also, can you use it as somebody that's saying something you don't really understand?
Right. So if maybe I'm talking to you about something that's very academic and very scholarly, you say, sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what the person said, the environmental problems are a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But it was really interesting because they were like, well, we have to save the earth. And then there was actually a phrase here that was really kind of hard for me to understand when the person said, I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies.
Boonies.
So what does it mean by living in the boonies?
This is a very common word to hear in spoken English, especially with young people. Boonies means we live far away from civilization. We live far away from cities. We live far away from everything. So maybe these people live in the countryside or in a small village. And they don't feel like they're affected by what people in the big cities do. Okay.
So if you say, oh, I live in the boonies, you're just saying, I live really far.
Really far away. So this is a very common American word, I think. You can also say boondocks, which is like that movie Boondock Saints. But boondocks and boonies means very far away. So I could say, Marco, I'm not going to drive out to your house for a party. You live in the boonies.
Do you have any other ways that you can say that you live really far away?
You live in Egypt.
You live in Egypt.
Which for us in America is obviously very, very far away.
Sometimes we say...
Yonks.
The Yonks, exactly.
Yonks, people in New Zealand say that.
I've also heard people say, oh, you live where the wind turns around.
Really?
Haven't you heard that one? Yeah.
No, I like that one.
It's like, you live so far. Oh, God, you live where the wind turns around.
The end of the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, well, there are a lot of different ways of saying that. So they were talking about different aspects of the environment, like we heard the word green or energy efficient.
Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're talking about some of the things they've heard in the media maybe or on TV about what people are supposed to be doing. You know, these are very abstract. That means these are very kind of big terms. Go green or be more energy efficient.
Yeah, I've heard this. Like, for example, when people say, oh, you have to be more green or go green, that means more friendly towards the ecosystem, right?
That's right. So this is a very general suggestion, and we can talk about specifics in a minute, but this is a very general suggestion for thinking about the environment and doing things to help it. And so go green or be green is a way to be more environmentally friendly. We also have using energy efficient computers or light bulbs or TVs.
Right.
And the third thing that they talk about, and this is something that comes up a lot, is sustainability. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big word that a lot of people like to use.
It is.
In this type of topic, sustainability.
Right, so sustainability comes from the word to sustain. That means to hold out over time or to continue. So you think about something. Maybe sustainability is, I think, in many cases about doing or having habits, doing things that you can continue to do for a long time. For example, driving a big SUV to work every day is not keeping in mind sustainability because one day there will be no oil. So then what do we do?
Right.
So that's not a sustainable action. Sustainable actions mean that we have less impact, negative impact on the world.
Right. So basically what you're trying to do is to sustain, which means to hold, to withstand these habits, for example.
Right.
So when you talk about a sustainable ecosystem, it means that it has everything it needs and it can continue to work for a very, very long time.
Right. So you can also talk about sustainable development, which we talk about in aid and giving aid to other countries. So sustainable development is trying to help other countries or other people in ways that they can continue to do for a long time.
It's also very popular with tourism. They talk about sustainable tourism.
Right. That means thinking about the environment and having tourism that can last forever, not tourism that will destroy the environment because it's very harmful.
It's a very interesting topic, and as you say, it's used in a wide range of cases: sustainable development, sustainable projects, sustainable tourism. There are a lot of different ways that people use this, but it's basically the same thing, right? In essence, it refers to that.
Yes, keeping something going over time. But I think the big question here is, if you want to go green, if you want to be environmentally friendly, what do you do? Because it's not about big ideas. It's about specifics. It's about changing your everyday actions, right? And so these guys had a couple of ideas.
Yeah, they came up with something like, for example, hybrid vehicles, which is a big thing now. Basically, hybrid means two, right? It's a combination of two or more.
That's right. So, the Sphinx in Egypt, that's a hybrid.
Right, between a man and a lion.
Exactly.
Right. So a hybrid vehicle basically uses gasoline, but also electricity. So they're actually very efficient because...
And they're quiet.
They're quiet. And usually where you use up most of your gasoline is in traffic. Because your car is on, you're accelerating, you're braking, you're accelerating, you're braking. So in this case, I think hybrid vehicles run on the electric engine until they hit, I think it's 30 miles per hour, yeah. And once you surpass that, then it switches to the gas engine, which obviously if you have a constant high speed, it's more efficient, the combustion of the gasoline.
Exactly. So a good example of a hybrid vehicle is the Toyota Prius.
Right. I think it was like the first one commercially available.
But now they have all kinds, and they're actually trying to make entirely electric cars. So lots of things to watch out for there. But they also talked about something for the house, right? So if you want to not just have a nice car that is environmentally friendly, but also to do things with your house, what can you put on your roof?
I think we've seen a lot of these. These are called solar panels.
Okay, solar has to do with the sun. So solar power, solar panel, that means energy that comes from the sun. So the sun. And a panel is like a pad or like some kind of device that can take the energy from the sun. Yeah,
it's really, really good. Basically, in some places you have anywhere between 8 to 12 hours of sunlight. So the whole day, these panels are absorbing energy. You can store them maybe in batteries and then just use them later. So basically, you don't really need to use electricity that comes from coal or from nuclear power plants because, you want to turn on a light. It doesn't really use up a lot of electricity.
And there's no waste.
It's all clean.
So my question for you, does Ecuador have a lot of solar panels everywhere? Because you guys have so much sunlight down there.
We don't really have a lot of them. It's not a big commercial thing yet, but there are a lot of projects going around to help implement these things a lot better. For example, taking these technologies to the countryside where people don't have access to electricity by means of cables, right? So they're implementing that there, getting them to use it, but it's still expensive. That's the problem with solar panels is that, of course, it's an energy efficient way of going. It'll save you money in the long run, but up front you got to spend a lot of money.
Well, and here's a good way to use sustaining. If someone in the countryside has solar panels in their house, it's a self-sustaining way to produce energy.
Exactly.
You don't have to depend on another place or a person.
Yeah, actually, this is a very popular thing in many developed countries. I remember when I was living in Chile, big buildings were being marketed as energy efficient and green by showing that they can be self-sustaining. So basically, they would have solar panels on the roof. They would collect sunlight all day, and then they had big batteries that would store this energy, and then you can use it. They were more efficient into keeping heat or keeping the cold. And also what we saw in the vocab that they also had was rain barrels. So basically collecting water from the rain, and then they can use this water obviously through a filtering system in order to be able to drink it or to wash your clothes and stuff. But basically they would say that it could reduce your carbon footprint by more than 50%, and also the amount of money you would spend, because you wouldn't spend so much money on water, you wouldn't spend so much money on electricity or gas and things like this.
That's awesome. Well, one of the biggest concerns as far as environmentalism is water. Where water will come from in 50 years.
Yeah.
Because there is a limited amount of fresh water in the world.
Yes.
And if we can reuse rainwater and collect it, I think it's brilliant. So a barrel basically is like a big container, circular. It's like a circle, and it stands up on the ground or on a roof.
And it's brilliant because if you have a rain barrel that collects all this rain, and you have solar panels, basically you don't need gas or electricity to take a warm shower. You just have the solar panels that can heat up the rain barrel water, and there you have a warm water. You have a warm
sounds so
shower.
nice. You have sun-kissed warmth, and you have like fresh rainwater. And
Yeah. But the whole water issue is a very popular topic. I recommend that any of our listeners read. There's a very interesting article that talks about, don't worry about petroleum running out in 50 years. We're probably going to run out of our water before that.
Yeah.
And they project droughts and huge famine in places like India, like in the Middle East, in even in places of China.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, not to scare anyone, but
But yeah, it's
No,
interesting reading though. Yeah, it's really good.
very serious stuff. Well, the last thing that I think we should talk about before we listen to today's audio file again is the compost bin. Now, this is maybe something that's hard to understand for someone who's never seen one before.
Yeah.
But basically, compost is, well, the verb is compost, to compost, but it's also a noun. But a lot of people, they don't want to throw away their food and their, organic material, things like flowers and food and biodegradable things. They actually reuse them. So basically, they have a space in the backyard of the house where they throw away all the old food.
Yeah.
Nothing plastic, nothing non-biodegradable. And that over time turns into fertilizer or mulch for their gardens.
Yeah.
So basically, you're putting it back into the earth.
Yeah. No, this is a very good option, and I remember seeing that even in Brazil, they have huge compost bins or compost places that they fill up with this garbage, and obviously things that decompose start to emit methane gas.
Yeah.
So they've found a way to harness this gas, transport it through tubes, and start using it. So actually having gas stoves with this
wow.
methane gas.
That's brilliant. So you can get two uses,
Right.
fertilizer and methane gas.
Yeah,
Very
so
smart.
there are a lot of options there to go green, to do your part to help the earth.
Wow. So let's listen again to the dialogue that we had today. Hopefully we've cleared up some of the things that were confusing for you, and we'll be back in just a moment.
So what's your guys' take on all this global warming hysteria in the media?
It's pretty serious, man. There have been tons of scientific studies, and the scientific community says that the Earth is heating up. We need to make some drastic changes to our lifestyle if we want to preserve our planet.
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of mumble jumble if you ask me. The Earth will save itself. It survived worse disasters in the past. I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies. There's no way anyone here is ever going to walk or bike to work, especially in the winter. And we have no bus system. My house is 40 years old, and it would take a lot of money to get it refitted to be green and energy efficient.
Well, I don't really know if I believe in global warming either, or whether or not it was our doing or natural change the Earth is going through. But you have to admit that we're living pretty irresponsibly here in the West.
I guess.
I think the issue at hand is sustainability. We've only got this one Earth we can live on, and our resources are quickly disappearing because of our own carelessness and our inability to think of anyone but ourselves and anything but the present.
So, like I was saying, we need to change the way we live. We need to reduce our carbon footprint.
But it doesn't have to be that drastic. Hybrid vehicles and solar panels are too expensive to be feasible right now. And we don't have to be hippies living off the land and buying everything organic either, though it helps.
I carpool to work every day with some buddies of mine. I have a rain barrel outside my house I use to water my plants and my lawn in the summer, and I make sure I always bring reusable bags with me when I get my groceries. And we just started using biodegradable plastic made from corn oil for takeout orders at my family's restaurant. Remember the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. It's just small, simple changes, like buying energy-saving light bulbs, starting a compost bin, recycling bottles and papers, using reusable water bottles, stop using disposable cups and cutlery.
Like the ones we're drinking out of?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So it's a very interesting topic, very debatable. We have Earth Day coming up, I think. You have to turn off your lights for an hour.
That's right. Earth Hour, Earth Day. So remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 R's.
Yeah.
Think about the way that you use things and, try and reuse them if you can.
Yeah, it's a very good topic. We want to know what you think about it. And also, if you have any suggestions or any comments about future advanced lessons, why don't you tell us? Come to englishpod.com and we'll see everyone there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Unintelligible or incomprehensible language. Mumbo jumbo. Gain heat or get hot. Heat up. Maintain in safety from injury, peril, or harm. Preserve. Rural, country, or jungle. Boonies. Keep in existence and maintain. Sustainability. Sudden and severe. Drastic. Capable of being done with means at hand. Feasible. Add new parts. Refit. Prepare and equip for additional use. Refit. Available source of wealth. Resource. Share the car with others to work. Carpool.
Let's try that faster.
Sudden and severe. Drastic. Capable of being done with means at hand. Feasible. Maintain in safety from injury, peril, or harm. Preserve. Prepare and equip for additional use. Refit. Unintelligible or incomprehensible language. Mumbo jumbo. Share the car with others to work. Carpool. Rural, country, or jungle. Boonies. Keep in existence and maintain. Sustainability. Available source of wealth. Resource. Gain heat or get hot. Heat up. Add new parts. Refit.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Mumbo jumbo. That's a load of mumbo jumbo. There is no such thing as aliens. Mumbo jumbo. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You guys like each other and get along well together, so you should at least try one date. Mumbo jumbo. Some people say that what the Bible teaches is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but I think there's some truth to it. Preserve. By living responsibly, we can preserve our planet for generations to come. Preserve. If you don't start preserving your relationship with your sister now, I'm afraid it will only get worse. Preserve. This historical building has been preserved since the 19th century. Refit. My sister had her living room refitted with a new entertainment system. Refit. The mountain climbers arrived at the base camp, got refitted, and set off again the next morning. Refit. For my birthday, my wife surprised me by refitting my car with a leather interior. Sustainability. Sustainability consists of living one's life in a way that sustains the earth. Sustainability. Sustainability is starting to catch on, and many companies are finding greener ways to make their products. Sustainability. This store is all about sustainability. They sell clothes made from organic materials, purses made from recycled aluminum and plastic, as well as notebooks made with recycled paper. Resource. We need to start finding alternative energy sources because our resources of carbon and oil are limited. Resource. The way we are living is rapidly depleting many of our natural resources. Resource. Solar electrical device connected solar cells and wind turbines are becoming more and more common because they are renewable resources in order to produce electricity.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erika.
And today we're bringing you, again, the great series, I'm Sorry, I Love You, Part 6.
The newest installment in the English Pod soap opera.
Drama, romance.
Love, tragedy.
All of it here at English Pod and in our series. So today we have a really great dialogue.
I just can't believe what's happening here. But before we get into it, we need to preview one word.
That's right. So let's take a look at it in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
Well, we're going to preview this word. Sleeping with.
Sleeping with.
Sleeping with someone.
Sleeping with him.
Yes.
So it seems pretty easy. I mean, sleeping with, it just sounds like you are in bed with somebody.
Yeah, but you are doing a little bit more than sleeping.
All right. So in English, this phrase actually means that you are involved with someone and have an intimate sexual relationship, right?
Yes, you are in a relationship with someone and you are having sex.
Exactly. So be careful how you use it, because I know that sometimes you want to translate and just say, well, they are in the same bed together, but it's not that they're having sex.
Right. So most of the time in English, the phrase sleeping with means sex.
Right. Okay. Sleeping with. Be careful.
Okay. Well, let's find out. Why are we talking about sleeping with?
Well, obviously somebody is sleeping with somebody. So let's listen to the dialogue and then we'll come back and talk about it.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe you've been sleeping with someone else. How could you do this? You know what? I'm out of here.
Wait! Doctor, how is this possible? I haven't cheated on my boyfriend.
I have something to confess. I'm sorry, Veronica. I lied.
Wait,
What? What do you mean?
I lied. You aren't even pregnant. There's no bun in the oven. I was just so overwhelmed with jealousy that I couldn't help myself. Veronica, I love you!
What are you talking about? Who are you?
It's me, Daniel. Don't you remember me from high school? I sat behind you in science class. I used to go to every football game and watch you in the cheerleading squad.
You're insane. We never even spoke. Why did you lie like that to my boyfriend?
Because, Veronica, it's not fair. I love you. I have since the first day we met. Everything was going fine until that jerk came into the picture and ruined everything. I went to med school and became a doctor for you. You always said how you wanted to marry a doctor. You will be mine now, one way or another.
I heard everything, you lying bastard! Get your hands off of her!
Scandal again.
This poor Veronica and Steven. I don't know how their relationship could get more complicated.
It's amazing. They're having an amazing adventure in their love life.
I'm sure glad my love life looks nothing like this.
All right, so we saw some really great words. So let's take a look at them in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
The words we're looking at now are about feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's take a look at the first one. Confess.
Okay, confess.
To confess.
To confess. So confess, what does that mean?
When you confess something, you tell a secret that you've been hiding.
Okay, so that's pretty easy. So you have a secret and you want to tell it to someone, so you are confessing.
Yeah, and it's usually something negative.
Negative. Oh, okay.
So, Marco, I confess that I stole $5 from you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, sorry.
Ah, okay. No wonder my wallet was lighter.
Yeah.
All right. So confess. I shall not forgive you for this.
Oh, no.
All right. Let's take a look at our next word. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
I am overwhelmed.
So when I am overwhelmed, I am filled with emotion.
Okay, with emotion. It can be good emotions and bad emotions, right?
Yeah, but you feel too much. It's like you're going to explode.
Okay, I am overwhelmed with joy.
Yes, or I'm overwhelmed with work.
And I am overwhelmed with jealousy.
Like this guy.
Right? And that's our third word.
Jealousy.
Jealousy. So this is interesting because jealousy is the noun.
That's right. It's the feeling.
Of being jealous.
Which is the adjective.
Which is the adjective. So what does it mean when you are jealous?
It means that you see somebody and you want what they have.
Okay. You want what they have.
Yeah. So in this case, the doctor is jealous of Veronica's boyfriend because the doctor wants Veronica.
Okay, jealous. Mm-hmm. So Erika, are you a jealous wife?
I don't know, maybe a little bit.
A little bit?
But I've never gone to the extent of telling someone that they're pregnant when they're not.
All right. Jealousy. Okay. And let's take a look at our next two words, which are actually kind of insults, right?
Yeah, they're not very kind words at all.
Okay, but you got to learn them anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at this one. Jerk.
Jerk.
He's a jerk.
Jerk. Jerk.
Jerk. So, what does it mean if someone is a jerk?
A stupid and mean person.
Plain as simple as that.
Yeah.
Stupid and mean. So, can a woman be a jerk?
It's mostly male, but now it's becoming more common to use with women as well.
Okay, so I can say he is a jerk or she is a jerk.
Yeah, but it is more common for men.
Okay. And now let's take a look at our last word. You lying bastard.
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 Wow, this is pretty strong as well.
Yeah, you got to be careful about this one. This one
Okay.
is almost a swear word.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's not like on the line.
Yeah.
So what does it mean if you call someone a bastard?
Well, literally, it means your mother and father were not married when you were born.
When you were born, exactly. So it is a pretty big insult.
Yes.
A little bit, I guess.
But it doesn't really mean that your mother and father
Right.
weren't married.
Right,
It
but
just
you're-
it means that you are a jerk.
You're a jerk. You're a really big jerk.
You're a mean person, a really mean person.
So jerk isn't as strong as a bastard,
Yes,
right?
bastard is stronger.
Okay, so you got to be careful when you throw that word in there or how you would use it. And again, it's for men, right? Not for women.
Yeah, you can't use this word with women.
Oh, okay, that's...
There's another one out there, but that will have to wait for another English pod.
Well, apparently all of these words are just for men. What did we do wrong?
Marco, I can't begin to tell you.
Okay, so let's listen to our dialogue again, and then we'll come back and look at some great phrases.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe you've been sleeping with someone else. How could you do this? You know what? I'm out of here.
Wait! Doctor, how is this possible? I haven't cheated on my boyfriend.
I have something to confess. I'm sorry, Veronica. I lied.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I lied. You aren't even pregnant. There's no bun in the oven. I was just so overwhelmed with jealousy that I couldn't help myself. Veronica, I love you!
What are you talking about? Who are you?
It's me, Daniel. Don't you remember me from high school? I sat behind you in science class. I used to go to every football game and watch you in the cheerleading squad.
You're insane. We never even spoke. Why did you lie like that to my boyfriend?
Because, Veronica, it's not fair. I love you. I have since the first day we met. Everything was going fine until that jerk came into the picture and ruined everything. I went to med school and became a doctor for you. You always said how you wanted to marry a doctor. You will be mine now, one way or another.
I heard everything, you lying bastard! Get your hands off of her!
All right, so great stuff. Jerk, bastards, all that good words going around.
But we've also got some amazing phrases. So why don't we take a look at those now in Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
All right, so in Fluency Builder today, we have 3 great phrases. Let's take a look at the first one. Bun in the oven.
A bun in the oven.
A bun in the oven.
Okay, this is obviously an idiomatic phrase, right?
Well, it could be literal as well, right?
Like you could actually have a piece of bread in your oven.
Right. Bun is a piece of bread
Yep.
in the oven, but in this context, we're not using it.
No, it means you're pregnant.
You're pregnant. So the baby is the bun.
Yeah, and the oven is your stomach.
Right. So you say she has a bun in the oven.
Yes, she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. Okay. It could be difficult to understand if you don't really have the explanation, right?
Yes.
You would say, what? She has bread
What?
in the oven?
Yeah, a bun in the oven.
Okay. Now let's take a look at the second one. Couldn't help myself.
I couldn't help myself.
I couldn't help myself.
So when you can't help yourself, you can't control yourself.
Right. You did something, but you couldn't control it.
You couldn't stop it.
You couldn't stop it. Okay, so let's listen to some examples of how you would use I couldn't help myself, because it's a phrase that you can use in many different ways, right?
That's right. Let's listen.
Example 1.
I just couldn't help myself. When I saw your car, I just had to buy it.
Example 2.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I just started laughing.
Example 3.
That cake was so good. I couldn't help myself. I ate it all.
All right, perfect. Couldn't help myself. Easy.
Now, the doctor, he couldn't help himself from lying to Veronica because he was angry that her boyfriend, Steven, came into the picture.
Came into the picture.
To come into the picture.
Okay, so what does it mean when somebody comes into the picture?
Well, basically, you appear in somebody's life. You come into somebody's life.
So imagine that your life is a picture, and somebody all of a sudden comes into it, so...
They come into the picture. They come into your life.
Come into your life.
Yes.
So he's angry that Steven appeared into Veronica's life, and they're in love and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. All right, well, these are some great phrases, and why don't we listen to them again in context? So let's listen to the dialogue.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe you've been sleeping with someone else. How could you do this? You know what? I'm out of here.
Wait! Doctor, how is this possible? I haven't cheated on my boyfriend.
I have something to confess. I'm sorry, Veronica. I lied.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I lied. You aren't even pregnant. There's no bun in the oven. I was just so overwhelmed with jealousy that I couldn't help myself. Veronica, I love you!
What are you talking about? Who are you?
It's me, Daniel. Don't you remember me from high school? I sat behind you in science class. I used to go to every football game and watch you in the cheerleading squad.
You're insane. We never even spoke. Why did you lie like that to my boyfriend?
Because, Veronica, it's not fair. I love you. I have since the first day we met. Everything was going fine until that jerk came into the picture and ruined everything. I went to med school and became a doctor for you. You always said how you wanted to marry a doctor. You will be mine now, one way or another.
I heard everything, you lying bastard! Get your hands off of her!
Okay, so Veronica's not pregnant. That was a close one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phew.
Actually, they're not married. So this is a very controversial topic, right?
Yep.
Being knocked up.
Yes, nice phrase.
Nice phrase.
So there's a lot of interesting phrases and ways you can talk about pregnancy. So if you're knocked up, you're pregnant.
Right. So you could hear that in movies. It's not really, I would say, a proper way of saying.
No, it's not that polite because it gives you the idea that it was a mistake.
Right. So you would say she got knocked up.
Yes. Another common phrase is preggers.
Preggers. I heard this is more Australian, right?
She's preggers, so she's pregnant.
So it's actually a pretty interesting topic. I know that, for example, in Latin America, if a girl that's maybe in her early 20s gets pregnant accidentally by her boyfriend, usually the families expect them to get married.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, should they get married? Should they not?
So there's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. But it's different in other countries, right?
Yep. So I don't know, for you guys, what's it like in your country where you live? Is there pressure on the guy and the girl to get married? I mean, should Steven and Veronica get married in this situation?
Or what about just living together?
Yeah.
Or as they say, living in sin, right?
Living in sin.
Living together, living in sin.
Yep.
So is it okay to just live together with your girlfriend, or should you get married before? This is a controversial topic, so we'll have a lot of different opinions, but it should be interesting. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Absurd, not logical.
Ridiculous.
To admit a fault or crime.
Confess.
Informal way of saying pregnant.
Bun in the oven.
State of being affected deeply in mind or emotion.
Overwhelmed.
A feeling of being supplanted. Apprehensive of losing affection or position.
Jealousy.
Very crazy.
Insane.
Destroy.
Ruin.
A cruel or unkind person.
Bastard.
To have a sexual relationship with someone who is not your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend.
Unfaithful.
A person who is not who they seem. A person who lies.
A fraud.
A person who has a relationship with a married man or a married woman.
A homewrecker.
Dishonest behavior.
Deceit.
End a relationship with.
Split up with.
Listen to another person's conversation.
Eavesdrop.
Let's try that faster. A feeling of being supplanted. Apprehensive of losing affection or position.
Jealousy.
Listen to another person's conversation.
Eavesdrop.
End a relationship with.
Split up with.
Informal way of saying pregnant.
Bun in the oven.
A cruel or unkind person.
Bastard.
Destroy.
Ruin.
To have a sexual relationship with someone who is not your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend.
Unfaithful.
A person who has a relationship with a married man or a married woman.
A homewrecker.
Absurd, not logical.
Ridiculous.
To admit a fault or crime.
Confess.
Very crazy.
Insane.
Dishonest behavior.
Deceit.
State of being affected deeply in mind or emotion.
Overwhelmed.
A person who is not who they seem. A person who lies.
A fraud.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Confess. Barbara confessed to me that she stole the wallet. Confess. I have to confess something. I'm in love with. Confess. I'm innocent. I'll never confess to this crime. Overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with joy when I discovered my wife is pregnant. Overwhelmed. She is overwhelmed with sadness since her dog died. Overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed by all the work you have to do. Take your time. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You are a jerk. My sister had a boyfriend who was a real jerk. I don't mean to be a jerk, but can you leave my house? I couldn't help myself. When I saw that car, I had to buy it. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. I just started laughing. She couldn't help herself, and so she ate the cake by herself. I had a happy life until my mother-in-law came into the picture. Our company grew so much after the new CEO came into the picture. life feels complete now that you came into the picture.
Hello, English learners, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we're talking about money, but this time we're talking about borrowing money.
Right, so we're asking for money. We're going to the bank, and we are asking for a loan. But before we go, why don't we take a look at vocabulary preview?
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, so a loan is some money that you get from the bank, so we're talking about requesting a loan today.
All right, so you request for a loan or you ask for a loan.
Exactly, so to request is to ask.
Okay, very good. And that's the word that we have for vocabulary preview, so let's listen to the dialogue for the first time.
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yes, I would like some information for requesting a loan.
Very well. Here are the general terms of our loan policies. We pride ourselves in having the lowest interest rate in the country for personal loans.
I see. So let me get this straight. If I borrow, let's say, $10,000, how much will I have to pay each month?
It depends on how long you take to pay it back. If we lend you $10,000 at an annual interest rate of 10% for 48 months, you would have to pay each month a portion of the loan, which is called the principal, and another small portion of the annual interest rate. This, of course, is considering that you don't default on a payment.
It sounds good, but there's just one problem. I have a terrible credit score.
That is a very serious problem, you see. The bank must assess your personal information, past loans, assets, and any other relevant information, such as your credit score, in order to approve your loan.
You know what? I don't really need the money. Thanks anyways.
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at some of the key words that we'll find in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so on language takeaway today, we have a couple of different words. Why don't we start off with the loan policies?
Okay, so a policy is like a rule. For example, a government can have policies, but in this case, a loan policy is the rules regarding the loan that you have.
Right, so maybe the loan policies could include how long, what's the maximum length of your loan, or maybe what's the annual interest rate, etc.
How much you have to pay each month, like
Exactly.
that. So a loan policy is the rules related to the loan that you've taken out. And we have some very, very important words following this. They go together. So the first word is to borrow.
Okay, so you probably know this word already, to borrow. So can I borrow your pen? Can I borrow some money?
Sure, let me give you my pen. Let me give you my money.
Okay.
But wait, giving is different because giving means I don't have to get it back.
Right. So if you want to give it to someone temporarily, then you lend them your pen or you lend them some money.
Great. So to borrow is to take something from someone knowing that you will have to give it back later.
Right.
And to lend is to give it to someone, right?
Uh-huh.
So can you lend me your pen? That means, can you give it to me, please?
Right. And this is a common mistake with language learners, especially English learners, that they make the mistake of using borrow instead of lend. So, can you borrow me some money? Right. So, can you lend me some money?
Sure, but I expect you to pay me back later.
Okay, very good. And if I pay you back later, I'll include an interest rate.
Will you really?
No, not really.
No, not really. Mostly it's banks that ask for an interest rate. So in this case, an interest rate means the amount of money that a bank will charge you in addition to the money that you owe them.
Exactly. So it's called an interest rate, and it's a rate because it's a percentage. So
like
it's usually
5%.
Exactly, 5-10%. That is an interest rate. And now moving on, if you have a loan and you have to pay each month, be careful to not default on your payments.
Okay, default. In the banking world, this means to not be able to pay your loan.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if I owe $1,000 to you, Bank of Marco, and I don't have the money, I can't pay for it, then I default.
Mm-hmm. So to be late or to not make the payment.
It's a verb, to default.
Very good. And well, the person asking for the loan has a small problem. His credit score is not very good.
Okay, I think he calls it terrible. And one of the ways that you get a terrible credit score is by defaulting on a loan. But it
Right.
also means that maybe you borrow money or you have credit cards and you can't pay off your bills. And so a credit score is very important in America, and it's like a report card for your finances.
Right. So, for example, if your credit score is a report card and you have an A credit score, that means that banks won't have a problem with lending you money. Or if you want to buy a new car, it'll be okay. But if you don't pay your bills on time or you default on your loans, then maybe you'll have a C or a D, and then people will not really lend you money in the future.
They won't trust you.
Exactly. All right, so that's credit score. That's all the words we have for Fluency Builder. Why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back shortly.
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yes, I would like some information for requesting a loan.
Very well. Here are the general terms of our loan policies. We pride ourselves in having the lowest interest rate in the country for personal loans.
I see. So let me get this straight. If I borrow, let's say, $10,000, how much will I have to pay each month?
It depends on how long you take to pay it back. If we lend you $10,000 at an annual interest rate of 10% for 48 months, you would have to pay each month a portion of the loan, which is called the principal, and another small portion of the annual interest rate. This, of course, is considering that you don't default on a payment.
It sounds good, but there's just one problem. I have a terrible credit score.
That is a very serious problem, you see. The bank must assess your personal information, past loans, assets, and any other relevant information, such as your credit score, in order to approve your loan.
You know what? I don't really need the money. Thanks anyways.
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 3 key phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Let me get this straight. We're going to do Fluency Builder?
That's right.
Wait. So, okay, so this is our first phrase. Let me get this straight. And this is a fixed phrase. That means we always say it the same way. Wait, let me get this straight. We always say it the same way?
Right, so you're asking for a confirmation, or you're repeating what that person said just to be sure that it's correct.
Exactly. So maybe you don't understand something, or maybe you think you might have misunderstood. You say, hey, so let me get this straight. And you repeat what the person just said. It's a way for you to, like you say, get confirmation on what you've heard.
Very good. Let me get this straight. And now moving on, we have the phrase, pay it back. You have to pay it back.
Okay, and so in this case, we have the verb to pay, but we also have the word back. So pay it back means to repay. So if we take out a loan, we obviously have to pay it back to the bank.
Right, so you have to pay the loan back.
Okay, so just remember that these words often go together, to pay it back. I'll pay you back, I promise.
Right, can you lend me $1? I'll pay you back tomorrow.
Don't worry about it.
All right, and the bank started off saying, we pride ourselves in having the lowest interest rate in the country.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we pride ourselves. What does it mean if I pride myself in something?
The word pride means to be really happy about something that has to do with yourself. So something that you're proud of is something that you want to tell a lot of other people about. So, for example, a father may say, my son just got straight A's and he's an excellent soccer player. And so he's proud of his son. But to pride oneself means to be really happy with the way that you do something.
Right. So, for example, if I've never smoked, right? So I can say, I pride myself in being a non-smoker.
Or I could say, I pride myself in always saving lots of money for my paycheck.
Very good.
So it means I try to do this because I know it's a good thing.
But you feel very good about this, and you feel that, people should be proud of you as well.
So we could ask our students here, what do you pride yourselves in as a challenge?
As a challenge for the website. All right, so why don't we listen to the dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back.
Hello, sir. May I help you?
Yes, I would like some information for requesting a loan.
Very well. Here are the general terms of our loan policies. We pride ourselves in having the lowest interest rate in the country for personal loans.
I see. So let me get this straight. If I borrow, let's say, $10,000, how much will I have to pay each month?
It depends on how long you take to pay it back. If we lend you $10,000 at an annual interest rate of 10% for 48 months, you would have to pay each month a portion of the loan, which is called the principal, and another small portion of the annual interest rate. This, of course, is considering that you don't default on a payment.
It sounds good, but there's just one problem. I have a terrible credit score.
That is a very serious problem, you see. The bank must assess your personal information, past loans, assets, and any other relevant information, such as your credit score, in order to approve your loan.
You know what? I don't really need the money. Thanks anyways.
All right, very good. So as you say, saving is important, and well, sometimes do you think you need a loan?
I think sometimes people need loans because they want to go into business, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So people who want to go into small businesses or open their own companies need startup capital. And so this is a really great example of when people don't have the money lying around and will go to find a bank that will give them a loan.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's really important, especially for the economy of a country, for business loans or small business loans to be available, because sometimes it's very difficult to find a bank that will actually lend a person money to start a business. Usually they won't have a problem with lending them money to buy a new car.
Right.
But to start up a business, it's completely the opposite.
It is. And one of the really popular trends in foreign investment right now is called micro-lending. So microloans. And that means that if I want to help people in a very poor country, I can lend $100 for someone to buy a sewing machine or for someone to buy a small computer, $500 for a small computer, and that is a microloan. It's a very, very small loan for one thing, and that can help them towards their goal of being a business person.
Right, and you're not really getting money out of it, though. You're not charging like 100% interest rate.
You're not. You're charging like 1 or 2% interest, very low interest, and you're giving people a chance to pay the money back because it's such a small amount.
Wow, that's really good. A really positive thing. Very good. So if you have any questions, any comments, or any suggestions, please come to our website at englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Percentage of the money paid to you by the bank. Interest rate. Common rules listed in an agreement. General terms. Measure. Calculate. Credit score. Let's try that faster. Measure. Calculate. Common rules listed in an agreement. General terms. Credit score. Percentage of the money paid to you by the bank. Interest rate. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Calculate. I have calculated the interest rate, and things are starting to look better. Calculate. Give me a moment to calculate your salary for this month. Calculate. Someone at work miscalculated my salary, and now I have to wait for another month to get paid. Credit score. I have a perfect credit score. There is no way I'm not getting this loan. Credit score. I forgot to pay my credit card bill, and now my credit score is compromised. Credit score. I really hope this doesn't ruin my credit score. Interest rate. This interest rate is insane. Interest rate. I wish I could get a loan with a lower interest rate. Interest rate. The bank's interest rate is lower than it used to be last month. General terms. I can help you understand this topic in general terms. I'm not so familiar with the details. General terms. In general terms, your behavior must improve, or else we will have to let you go. General terms. He explained some complicated science, but only in general terms. I forgot to read the fine print, and now I'm in trouble. Please make sure you read the fine print before you sign any document. I just read something in the fine print I don't completely understand. Can you explain?